Welcome back again. Today we are going to discuss how important is vocabulary. Try to imagine yourself in a restaurant. No one around you speaks your language. You try to order food from a waiter or waitress. There are only two things you can do: point at the menu, show your fingers and do hand motions, and then hope the server writes down the correct item, or you can try to speak the foreign language as best you can. Vocabulary is very important. If you cannot relay what your thoughts are, you will be unable to communicate with others. The only way you can communicate with others will be by either a two-languages dictionary or through hand gestures. Many ESL teachers haven't learned the vast importance of teaching students vocabulary. By teaching students vocabulary, at the same time they teach grammar, students will be able to write better, communicate better, and overall learn faster. People who travel to foreign countries can get by with only speaking a few simple phrases and knowing a little vocabulary. As stated before, if they understand what a word is in the sentence, they can change the word to mean something different, ask for something completely opposite, or change the subject of a sentence. This is why vocabulary is important. Students need to learn as much vocabulary as quickly as they can in order to become the best students. How is vocabulary learned? Most vocabulary is learned by necessity. Take for example when you were a child, when you wanted an apple you probably looked at someone and said, "Apple." You didn't have to ask an entire question to make your point to your parents. Neither did your parents explain to you the oven was hot. Other people learn vocabulary because of business. If a businessperson can speak more than one language, they can sell to more people. Even the smallest amount of second language can be important. You would only need to know how to answer some simple questions and learn a few polite phrases. Over 1,000 years ago, people moved from one country to another in order to sell goods. These individuals had to speak several languages. So necessity is important when learning a new language. Most people will learn words that they deem important. This is hard for a novice learner whose only objective is to take a class just to have something to do or to make their mother or boss happy. In some Asian countries, or countries that have a monolingual society, the students have a particularly hard time learning a second language. There isn't a necessity to learn a second language because they will never use it. When they leave school at the end of the day, the signs are in their native language, so are the television shows, radio stations, places of entertainment, and their friends only speak the language. This makes learning very difficult. Their primary goal in learning a foreign language is to pass a test in order to get into college. How many words do we need to know? An educated learner would normally have around 20,000 words in his or her vocabulary. By continuing to study new vocabulary words, it would be easy to increase your vocabulary by 1,000 words per year, 20 new words a week, with more words be added by speaking alone. This is why a teacher must give a list of words to their students weekly in order for them to increase their vocabulary. While most native speakers or educated speakers have around 20,000 words in their language, novice learners of English normally have around 5,000 words in their vocabulary. Intelligence has less to do with learning vocabulary than everyday exposure. There are some highly intelligent people who barely can speak one language, while some people with little education are able to speak 3 languages or more. It all depends on necessity. An infant growing up in a native-speaking home has a greater chance of learning English than a non-native speaker trying to learn in school. Because of this, non-native speakers must always be exposed to new words daily or on a routine basis. In order to increase the ability for students to learn new words, a teacher must remember one simple fact: the words must be relevant and useful to their education. Teach students words that they can use in everyday situations. Some studies have concluded that a non-native speaker would need approximately 18 years of learning to equal 1 year of learning for a native speaker. Another reason is because children remember around 90% of what they are taught. Children who are in a constant state of learning remember more because they are more fascinated by their surroundings than adults. How many words are needed? If you look at the English language in a whole, only 100 words are repeated constantly. Examples of these would be has, to, did, he, and were. These are known as function words. They are restrictive in their uses due to grammar and the grammatical uses of the words, along with they need other parts of speech to make them function. He was is not a sentence, however he was is a question. He was happy is a sentence. As you can tell, an adjective was needed to complete the function. The 10 most common words in the English language are the, to, of, a, and, in, I, was, for, and that. Again, to learn new vocabulary, the words must be relevant to what the student is learning. Never teach students words they don't need to know, will never use, or seem irrelevant to their learning. Many course books have vocabulary words printed in the back of the book. This helps the learner discover new meaningful words that are included in their learning process or current textbook, while keeping in pace with the grammatical learning. That is all the time we have for today. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you next time.